Hello everybody, welcome along. My name is Benjamin Bloom. This is the Benjamin Bloom Football Channel. Please leave your bias at the door and join us for another morning review and look back on day 5 at the Euros and the kickoff for the group of death. Only 2 games yesterday, but we've been waiting for Group F, haven't we, with Portugal, France and Germany all in there. Should mention the Hungarians and their brilliant fans in Budapest as well. And it was Hungary 0, Portugal 3, although that does not tell the whole story. And in the big game that could be a quarter-final, semi-final, final, you name it, 2 giant nations in success and European footballing imprint. France 1, Germany 0. The French lay down a marker, the world champions early in the tournament. Let's have a look at both the games. So, early in the day, the 5 p.m. game, remember no 2 p.m. kickoff, yesterday was the Hungarians versus the Portuguese. Gulaschi in goal for Hungary, Botka, Orban, Szalai, Fiola, Lovrencic wide, Kleinheisler, Nagy, Schaffer, the other Szalai, and Salai up front. And look, I got very cross with the Swedes the day before, didn't I, for their incredibly compact 4-4-2 and stinking out that game and Spain not being able to get through them. The Hungarians played this in a way that did offer them defensive solidity, but they did have the outlet, the big number 9 up front. They did commit even centre-halves and wing-backs forward, and it just felt like they were more in the game for more than just a clean sheet. Although, if the ends justify the means, I'm sure Swedish fans will sit here now and say who's got 1 point and who's got 0. So it was a slightly different approach and not too defensive against a Portugal team that really is stacked, especially in the front 4 positions. Patricio in goal, Semedo, Pepe, Diaz, Guerrero across the back. A very sturdy looking double pivot of Danilo and Carvalho. And then look at that front 4. Bernardo Silva, Bruno Fernandes, Diego Jota and the great Cristiano Ronaldo, who was at his rampaging, record-breaking, strutting best yesterday, and he ends the game as the big story. Of course he does. He always does. And he should have given Portugal the lead in the first half there on 42. I have to say, Diego Jota seemed to be getting all the chances before that. Cross fizzed in. I don't think Ronaldo sees it till late, but bounces up. And with the standards he set over the years, you expect him to score that one. Over the bar it goes, 0-0 at half-time. And then in the second half, there was something in the air, wasn't there? We were coming up 60, 70, 80 minutes. The Hungarians were getting sort of more and more in it. There was a change made where Rafa Silva comes in down the right, which is actually going to be a key change. And it just seemed that the more the Hungarians came out, in the end, the balloon burst and the Portuguese caught them. Not before Sean, the substitute, did stick the ball in the net for the Hungarians. And we thought, are we going to get the big upset? And frankly, a lot of people in my stream yesterday just enjoying a full football stadium and the opportunity to celebrate the goal. But it was offside. They did have the call correct. Again, lots of love for the refereeing in this tournament. And it turned, didn't it? And I have to say, we're in 83 minutes and 40 seconds. They do get a little bit lucky with this goal because the cross is supposed to go in that gap you can see around the edge of the 6-yard box looking for Ronaldo. It takes a deflection and comes back to Guerrero. So fair play to Portugal for having a left back in the area with 6-7 minutes to go. But then the shot, with the pass having also taken a deflection, the shot then takes a deflection. And of course, where does it go? Right in the corner, along the floor, and the keeper can get nowhere near. So, look, maybe Portugal could have had a goal earlier in the game, But a little bit of luck, I think, with the goal for sure, with the double deflection. But we do need to credit the left back being up in the box as they're trying to get the winning decisive goal. And then, everything then turns and we're going to get a late flurry of goals from the Portuguese. It is Rafa Silva in the box there. He's taken down. I don't want to be this guy, but I do think Orban should have been sent off there. The law states now on a deliberate goal-scoring opportunity that there needs to be a deliberate attempt to play the ball, and if it is, it's a yellow card. We watched the replays back. His feet are doing nothing. There's pulling and pushing and whatnot. So maybe the Hungarians, if they were unlucky and it was a cruel result, maybe they got a little bit lucky there, because I think other officials would have pulled out the red card for that one and the denial of the obvious goal-scoring opportunity. And speaking of obvious goal-scoring opportunities, having missed one earlier in the game, he's not going to miss a second, is he? And Cristiano Ronaldo becomes, well, another record breaker. Look, sticks it into the right-hand side. Keeper sent the wrong way. And you'll be here a long time if you sit and read out Cristiano Ronaldo's records. But I think that was top scorer at the Euros now. And that's one that Messi's definitely not going to take off him at any point, because he's South American. So, and then when you think all is done and it's 2-0, it's a glorious final goal in stoppage time. And the movement and the quick passing from Rafa Silva and Ronaldo, just stunning. And it's honestly, it's like a child who always manages to make themselves the centre of attention, but he does it in such a brilliant way, doesn't he? You think the narrative of this game at 80 minutes is, we're going to be talking about the Hungarians and the full stadium in Budapest and how they gave it such a great go and took a point off the Portuguese, and the group of death is wide open with the first game drawn. And what are we talking about coming away from it? Cristiano Ronaldo and records and his brilliance. And look, we've had some great goals so far, Yarmolenko and Schick, and here is another one. The passing's great, and the way, the composure, just to go cold at the end and not hit the shot and get it blocked. No, he's just going to take it round the keeper and stick it in. Brilliant from Ronaldo, who, let's say it right now, will be our MVP of the day. Joins Patrick Schick from yesterday. Let me know if you think differently. Ronaldo was the story early on yesterday, as per usual. There are the numbers which do tell us that it would have been a job very well done by the Hungarians if they had got the win and not been offside. Look, 0.18 on the SofaScore XG against 2.62. Look at the shot map. Obviously, there's a penalty in there and a kind of tap in after the brilliant build-up. Always boosts it up, but look, 6 corners to 0. 3 big chances to 0. 6-7-1 passes to 2-9-3. But game state does tell us that around 65 to 80 minutes, you could see Portugal getting a little bit fraught, and Hungary, with the help from their vast swathes of fans in Budapest, possibly getting something, but it was not to be. And so on we go to the big one. So Portugal, we'll look at the table after we've sorted this game, which was France 1, Germany 0. And great. Really, really enjoyed this one. Tension, stakes so early in the tournament. Literally the last game of the first round. Now everybody's played. These two were the last ones to go. For the French, Lloris in goal. Pavard, Varane, Kimpembe, Hernandez, Rabiot, Kante, Pogba, Griezmann, Benzema, Mbappe. Very, very stacked lineup. Probably pound for pound, star power, best lineup in the tournament for the world champions France. For the Germans, a couple of players now aging a little bit. Maybe Thomas Müller, Kroos, Neuer coming to the end of the cycle. Remember I guess it would have been in 2010, wouldn't it, when they beat us English in the World Cup. Those guys were all 10 years younger and coming through and lethal then and had the experience now. So Neuer in goal, Ginter, Hummels, Rudiger, Goossens and Kimmich wide, Gundogan and Kroos in the centre. The resplendent Muller with Havertz and Gnabry up front. To be honest, I didn't really see it like that, how SofaScore have put it up. I guess the heat map's taken Muller out to the left in the second half. It did look like Muller central with the other two supporting and Gnabry trying to run past Muller. But hey, we're into the world of pedantry now, and you know what I think about that. The Germans start well, but then the French just have this danger on the counter, and there is the opening goal. Look at number 6 in the bottom of the picture. Paul Pogba plays a filthy pass with the outside of his right foot. Just drops that in there. Beautiful. It holds up. Hernandez runs onto it, drills it in. Look at number 5, Hummels. Mbappe's going to try and run off the back of Hummels. And let's be fair, Mbappe just terrifies Hummels in particular all game. Hummels takes up the right position to make the block, but the ball bounces up, and as he tries and clears it, he swipes it into his own net. Own goal. France 1, Germany 0, Hummels' own goal. Into the second half. I thought the Germans came out well in the second half, but a feed through there. Rabiot is going to hit the post with that one. Neuer leaves in the gap and says, go on, take it if you want. He tries it outside of the post, and out it goes. Could have been 2-0. And then literally a minute later, you can see up on the clock, Gnabry clicked up to the back post. He volleys it into the ground, which possibly was his best shot choice, actually, because it bounces up. I think Lloris is done in the goal. It loops up onto the roof of the net. Unlucky for Gnabry, and did defend well, the French, didn't they? We'll look at the XG and the shot count and whatnot later. They did keep the Germans pretty well shackled during the game in terms of big chances. The French did have the ball in the net. You can see Pogba sliding that through. Mbappe, his knee is offside. We saw the VAR line there. Mbappe does square it to Benzema, who sticks it in the net, and his knee is offside. And it ends 1-0, and you can see there the SofaScore XG is very stingy. 0.87 to the Germans. What is very interesting, 0.26 XG for the French. And I'm sure there's a lot of people who watch the game sitting thinking, oh, that feels low, because the French did feel dangerous. And this is one of those instances where eye testing and game state need to be parlayed into the conversation with numbers. So the key thing is that France had the lead from the 20th minute. So they actually didn't need to score another goal. They just needed the clean sheet, and that's what they got. I think that informs it. And then you had that situation where, from the point that goal is scored, the French were kind of able to sit, utilise the brilliant Kante in front of Varane and Kimpembe, and Griezmann kind of sort of circulating around there, and leave Pogba to create and Mbappe to try and find the runs. And I maintain that the French still look more dangerous despite that XG number being so low during the rest of the game. Remember also on that number that the goal was an own goal. So you don't have a big number going in for when the ball goes in the back of the net from close range, because it's literally not a French shot, is it? But I felt that Benzema and Rabiot obviously hitting the post, and Benzema with the offside goal and Mbappe's running power. I mean, you tell me in the chat, was it more likely to go 2-0 France or 1-0 or 1-1 after about the sort of 55th minute mark? I think it was more likely to go 2-0 France. But that's why we have the conversation, isn't it? We use the numbers, we use our eye test. We don't rely solely on anything, and we're open to other ideas. You can see there, 10 shots to the Germans, only 1 on target. 1 big chance. I guess that is the one for Serge Gnabry. And how big a chance was that? He's closed down. He's on the volley. There's a man tight. He's not got too much of the goal to aim at. So that was about the best of it for the Germans. Although I think Gundogan did have one in the first half where, very similar, he's running onto it. He's got to hit it first time and he bounces it into the ground and it goes wide. Essentially, the Germans weren't allowed to create a hell of a lot. And even though the French shot map does seem slim, I was impressed with the French, I have to say. And it's always very difficult to judge. We've had this conversation throughout the week of how good is this team? How good is that team? We don't know sometimes. If a good team, I mean, take the Italians, the Turks didn't look very good at all. And the Italians won 3-0. So will it now drop off for the Italians? Will it get harder for them? And, we've had games, we don't know, like the English against the Croats. Were the Croats bad or did the English play them well? We'll find out. Context is king. And we kind of don't know with the French and Germans. And my hunch, and maybe we've based this on history, is that this will probably be one of the hardest games that either of them will have until we get to actual knockouts where you get that extra wrinkle added of, look, you cannot lose this game or you're out. You cannot even draw it and then take it to penalties and extra time and all that good stuff. So I think context is king going on. So I'll keep my powder dry, and you would not be surprised if in a couple of weeks' time we're talking about the Germans in the quarters or the semis, etc. Probably with the French as well. We will see. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. So there is the group of death, which has Portugal at the top on 3 points and a 3-0 goal difference. Could that be vital now? They obviously have remaining games against the French and the Germans. Then we have the French in second place, already with 3 points to their name. So again, for the 5 millionth time, with the fact that 4 out of 6 teams qualify from third place, you think the Portuguese and the French are most of the way there, and especially with the French having to play the Hungarians in their last game. Excuse me, that's incorrect. The French play the Hungarians on Saturday. So look, if they can get a draw or a win against Hungary, which, let's be honest, is likely, they're pretty much done, aren't they? And through the French, Portugal obviously have got it a little bit more tricky going forward with the Germans on Saturday. And look, we could go into the last game with Portugal and Germany tied on 3 points. And then the Germans playing the Hungarians and the Portuguese having to go against the France. That's why we've called it the group of death, for goodness sake. So we'll see how it all goes. We do know the Portuguese can defend, though. So surely they can take a point from one of those games, you would imagine. Anyway, that's today's fixtures. They've got Group B at the bottom. Chronologically, that's actually the first game, Finland versus Russia. We will not be covering that on the channel because the two watch-alongs will be the two Group A games. Turkey versus our home nation, the Welsh, and Italy versus Switzerland. So Turkey, Wales, Italy, Switzerland. We've also got Finland, Russia. So there's a few teams who today can basically guarantee that they're qualified. The ones that have got 3 points. So the Italians and the Finns. Let's talk about the Finns first in Group B. So if the Finns beat the Russians, then they are guaranteed pretty much to be qualified. They would go on to 6 points. And then, of course, the Belgians or the Danes, if there's a decisive result in that game, if it goes towards the Danes, then the Belgians can only tie the Finns. If it goes towards the Belgians, then the Finns are definitely through. That will be, obviously, a day removed from this. But, yeah, looking good for Finland. Of course, if the Russians win, we've got that lovely situation where 3 teams will be on 3 points and the cat will be amongst the pigeons. There, for the Italians going against the Swiss tonight. If the Italians win, of course, they go on to 6 points and it's pretty much as good as done then, especially given that one of Wales or Turkey, well, they've both already dropped points, haven't they? So, could be nice early presents if you're an Italian or a Finnish fan today. And come and join me on the watch-alongs. It's been a cracking pace. God, how many games have we watched already? We watched 9 games already, and it's 9 watch. It's been absolutely fantastic, apart from the Spain-Sweden game. But again, brilliant stuff yesterday. My MVP was Cristiano Ronaldo. I'm sure we'll get some shouts for Kylian Mbappe as well. And I think probably the big winners yesterday were France, weren't they? Getting that victory over Germany and still with a game against Hungary to go in the group of death. They look very well positioned. But what does the cliche say? Hashtag never write off the Germans. They will make a fool out of you and everybody else, and they're very, very good at it. That was my review for day 5 of the Euros. Day 6 goes on, as we say, 2 watch-alongs. 5 p.m. is Turkey and Wales. 8 p.m. will be here for Italy versus the Swiss, with the Italians. Well, they'll know more after the first game, and we'll know more, and we can give you a decisive answer on a lot of those stuff in this review show tomorrow. So come and join us back for that. I've had my say, now you have yours. Get your thoughts in via the comments, and I will see you tonight. Over and out. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button to see more videos from this channel. Hit the subscribe button, and to be notified every time we upload, ring the bell for those notifications to come through on your device. If you really want to support the channel and me as a content creator, I will be eternally grateful if you head over to the merch store and grab something, or support over on Patreon, patreon.com/Benjamin Bloom. Thank you for your time. Go and watch another video.